Welcome. This time, not from the MBT studio, but directly from the stage of the Maritime Hotel Cologne, the venue of the Machinery Days Cologne. This year for the 17th time.
Machinery Days Cologne, the largest independent conference about the Machinery Directive in Europe. Every year, we are welcoming more than 300 participants. This year, the Machinery Days take place from October the 13th to 15th. And what is new for you this year is that you can participate via Zoom.
If you participate online, your screen will look like this. That means you have a box up here where you can see the speaker, and you have the slides down there. This way we made sure that you won't miss anything. You will see both the speaker as well as the slides.
Since several years, we have live interpretation German-English on site. But you can now also hear German-English interpretation online via Zoom.
You can choose your interpretation, your language in Zoom. You'll see a flag here, usually the German flag, and you can switch to the English flag and then listen to our interpreters who will translate everything for you live on site. Please remember that the slides are not translated. That means slides that are English are shown in English and slides that are German are shown in German.
This year you can also book half days if you are attending the web conference. Otherwise, you can book a whole day or the entire conference Machinery Directive.
How can you contact us? Of course, via our website maschinenbautage.eu, but you can also contact us over the phone or via fax. We are happily awaiting your call, your email, however you want to contact us. You can find the contact details you need under the video in the comment section. Just click on the link there and visit our website.
We would now like to briefly introduce the conference talks to you. What can you expect on the first day of the conference at the German Machinery Law Day? On October the 13th, we will start with a lecture by Dr. Ulrich Becker, Responsibility for Conformity Assessment and CE Marking. Dr. Ulrich Becker will explain to us how the Declaration of Conformity and the Conformity Assessment legally coexist. He'll tell us who has which responsibility in this process, and he will also explain to us how to limit this responsibility, how to limit this liability in this area.
This lecture is followed by the lecture from lawyer Carsten Laschet, whom many of you already know from our various events, and who also hosts the Machinery Law Day on a regular basis. Carsten Laschet reports on the legally compliant acceptance of machines. What are the contractual acceptance procedures? Which acceptance requirements are legally required? What does it mean for incoming goods inspection? Above all, how thorough must the incoming goods inspection be? Is it possible not to check machine systems at all? Complaints are an important issue. And could third parties be involved? Can I consult experts? Can I even bring market surveillance into play?
Then Dr. Olaf Konzak will show us roles in mechanical engineering. That is, restriction of the use of certain hazardous substances in electrical and electronic equipment. Thus, what can I use in my electronic components? What materials are allowed there? He will explain the aim of the directive to us. He will tell us what is the scope, what exceptions may apply to us in mechanical engineering, and what do we have to set down in the contract if we buy electrical components. Finally, he will give us a few practical examples, problems that can arise, what does the case law say here, and how does market surveillance work.
You will then hear Professor Dr. Ralf Imhoff on the topic possibility of avoiding liability. Is law-abiding equivalent with non-liability? Product safety, Machinery Directive, regulations and co. So what else is there? What help do you get from technical standards? Or what deficits can you find there? What are the benefits of avoiding liability? Certification, audits, attestations. What does legally binding documentation look like? And last but not least, can you actually ensure that?
Abdul Karim Kutsuchu will give the next lecture, Practical Knowledge about Customs. He explains to us the import of machines. He gives examples, it happened that way. He will show you how the interaction between the market surveillance and the customs authority works. And what is important for mechanical engineering? How does it work shipping a machine across borders which may not be CE compliant at all? As part of the temporary import and export of machinery, what are special customs procedures here? If you only import a machine for repair, if you just want to exchange something, if you just want to improve something, or maybe you just bring something to Germany to store it.
As always, lawyer Carsten Laschet ends the day reporting on current developments in product liability. Everything that has happened in the course of the year in case law, Carsten Laschet presents here, so that you stay up to date with the jurisprudence in mechanical engineering.
The conference Machinery Directive follows the German Machinery Law Day from October 14th to 15th. Let us take a look at the program of October 14th. We start with a talk by Hein Bollens from the EU Commission about harmonized EU standards in a worldwide global market. Harmonized standards play a big role in European machinery law. Even if they are not legally binding, they still set the bar for the machine builder regarding safety and health protection requirements. Hein Bollens has been responsible in this area, working for many years at the European Commission. Hein Bollens will also explain the role of the harmonized standards in a global market.
Annegret Kübler-Borg holds the second lecture. She will explain the subject of the Radio Equipment Directive at the interface to the Machinery Directive. In the past few years, we have already reported about the Radio Equipment Directive. And in the meantime, the market participants have converged and they now know who is responsible for what. Mrs. Kübler-Borg will once again explain to us the scope of the Radio Equipment Directive. She will show the basic requirements of this directive, and she will explain to us how the conformity assessment procedure works. The most important question is conformity assessment procedures related to machines. Where is the interface between Radio Equipment Directive and Machinery Directive? Who is responsible for what?
You all know that the Machinery Directive will be revised. The directive will become a regulation, and we accompany this topic within the Machinery Days since several years. We have again invited a representative of the European Commission this year. With Mikhail Simonov, we have the chair of the European Machinery Committee, who will explain to us the current state of the changes to the Machinery Directive. He will also explain to us whether something has changed in the European Guide to the Machinery Directive.
In the next talk, we will take a look into the future. Artificial intelligence. What does that mean for mechanical engineering? Mr. Seeberg will explain to us with embedded AI towards a strengthened product leadership in global machine and plant construction. What can you gain with artificial intelligence to better place your machines on the market, to produce better products, to faster produce products, to produce with less effort?
As always, the first day traditionally ends with attorney Carsten Laschet with the topic of responsibility for conformity assessment and or declaration of conformity. A topic that concerns us almost every day. What about the organization of the CE responsibility in the company? Can you involve service providers? What are the possibilities and limits? How can I evaluate customer deliveries, for example, in assemblies of machinery? And finally, the always central question, who is liable for this?
We start the second day of the conference, October 15th, with a talk by Pascal Staub-Lang. A topic we normally want to avoid: machine accidents and their causes. To let us know how to avoid machine accidents, he will bring examples. He will show us where were machine errors the cause of the accident, where were operating errors the cause of the accident, and he will also show us how these accidents could have been avoided.
The next topic is of particular concern to us in assemblies of machinery. Dr. Frank Boonsland will tell us about the topic Pressure Equipment Directive and the interface to the Machinery Directive. He will go into special directives for the pressure hazards according to Article 3 of the Machinery Directive. Article 3 of the Machinery Directive is a link between the Machinery Directive and other directives, such as Pressure Equipment Directive for pressure hazards. A big topic here is the topic of pressure equipment and assemblies. Also, what about the manufacturer for own use? The legal text differs greatly from the recitals in the directive. And a new topic, the risk assessment according to Pressure Equipment Directive.
Martin Tillmann will then talk about the new harmonized standard for instruction handbooks. The EN ISO 2067 Instruction Handbook General Drafting Principles has been harmonized this year. He will tell us which requirements must be met. He will also show us other relevant standards for instruction handbooks, from which you then can put together a complete package. Not only the Machinery Directive has to be fulfilled. Of course, its implementation, the Product Safety Act, applies in Germany. He will show what the new standard offers for fulfilling the Product Safety Act. In the end, he will show us a checklist of how we can check the supplied operation instructions, whether the supplier adhered to the standard properly, and whether you can accept these operation instructions in the given form.
It continues with Dr. Björn Ostermann, who tackles the topic useful separation of industrial plants into assemblies of machinery. What are the criteria for an assembly of machinery? We have a definition in the Machinery Directive itself. More explanation is given in the German interpretation paper and in the European guide. We will take a look at what this gives us if we want to sensibly separate complex large systems into separate assemblies of machinery. Dr. Ostermann will introduce to you an interface determination with the new MBT assembly matrix. And finally, an important topic for the industry, costs. How can you simplify your assembly? How can this lead to cost reductions through double use of safety components?
The conference concludes with a lecture by two speakers. Hans Ostermann and Martin Zimmermann will explain to us Machinery Directive versus process plants. What are process plants? Why are they within the scope of the Machinery Directive? How do process engineering systems and their requirements fit into Annex 1 of the Machinery Directive? Then, of course, it is always about HACCP. And how can we use HACCP as a building block of the risk assessment? Finally, they take another look at how can you divide systems, here now process engineering systems, into subgroups so that you do not have to affix a CE mark at the gatehouse.
With this, we end the preview of the Machinery Days Cologne, and we hope that the topics are of interest to you and that you will visit us.
Live on site in Cologne or online via Zoom. We are looking forward to your suggestions, your questions, your comments. You will be able to ask questions both live on site and online. And our speakers will answer your questions after their talks.
We are looking forward to meeting you in October.